Son of a bitch.
The Hyundai Ioniq 5. We're not usually ones that like to do our own porn, but we're happy to let others do it. Maybe just to drive the message home. Bruce Lee's first kung fu teacher was not Yip Man.
What you talking about, Willis?
What I'm saying is that when Bruce Lee started learning Wing Chun Kung Fu from Yip Man, he'd already been studying Kung Fu with somebody else. And when Bruce Lee fans say that Bruce Lee's first art was Tai Chi Chuan, and I talked about this in a previous video about Bruce Lee's long history with Tai Chi. But look, I'm not talking about Tai Chi either. Bruce studied some other Kung Fu when he was younger, and I think knowing this about Bruce Lee could shed some light on some of the things Bruce Lee accomplished and why he left such a lasting impression on the world after he passed at the early age of 32. If we only got our information from the biopics and films that show Bruce Lee coming to learn from Yip Man, it would be easy to believe that Bruce Lee was introduced to Yip Man by his parents at a very young age. Dragging the Bruce Lee story would lead everyone to believe that Bruce Lee was some kind of martial arts prodigy who started training with Yip Man in 1949 when Bruce was only about 8 years old, up until the time when he left Hong Kong 10 years later. The Dragging the Bruce Lee story is based on a book, Bruce Lee, The Man Only I Knew, which was written by Bruce's widow, Linda Lee Caldwell, and like with most biopics, they took some creative liberties in combining some events from Bruce Lee's life as told by his wife Linda in her book. According to Linda, shortly after Bruce was enrolled at LaSalle Intermediate School, he came home and asked his mother if he could study Kung Fu because he was being bullied at school and he wanted to learn how to defend himself properly. Linda says that Bruce's father, Li Wei Chin, practiced Tai Chi Chuan and that Bruce joined his father once or twice to practice Tai Chi, but it wasn't suitable for what Bruce had in mind, which was fighting with the other kids his age. Linda said that Bruce's mother agreed to pay for Bruce's lessons, and thus he began studying Wing Chun with Yip Man when he was 13. Prior to Linda's book, there had been a number of other articles written stating that Bruce Lee started learning Wing Chun at the age of 13, and he really didn't mention learning anything else or having any other teachers in those interviews he gave from the time his star began to rise when he was cast to play Kano in Early Morning. So if all anyone has ever known is the official word coming from the Bruce Lee estate, that Bruce Lee did a little bit of Tai Chi Chuan with his father, who took up Wing Chun at the age of 13. Well, I mean, what's the foundation isn't exactly true. In the first
World War I promised us a perpetual peace, and it failed. World War II then was the ultimate laboratory of death. It told us in 1945 what we should have known in 1939. It took 65 million deaths to prove what should have been self-evident.
mistakes are mistakes. It's part of human nature and the government. Of the world, learn to hear a brand new word. It's great. How we are to live and why we are to live. And that still goes on.
They say in World War II that cannot be a subtraction. That has to translate into a guy in a B-59 or somebody in an American submarine in Tokyo Bay. The point being is this war was unique in that there were so many theaters and ways of fighting it that it's almost incomprehensible. Let's begin.
The first time that I learned anything about Bruce Lee studying Tai Chi was about 7 years ago during a personal lesson with one of my old Kung Fu teachers. He said that Bruce's father tried to teach him Tai Chi, but he found that Bruce had the wrong attitude, so he stopped teaching him. Now, I mentioned this in another video about Bruce Lee and his history with Tai Chi. It was something that I didn't say in that video, and something that Linda's story doesn't make clear is that Bruce Lee was not learning Tai Chi from his father. Okay, first off, Li Hui Chen started taking Bruce with him to Tai Chi classes when Bruce was 7 years old. Now, at this point in Bruce's life, he was just starting to make movies, and he was spending a lot of time early morning at the studios with his father. So to extend their father-son time together, Li Hui Chen thought that it would be a good idea to take Bruce to his Tai Chi classes to help with Bruce's hyperactivity. I mean, his nickname was never sit still for a reason. Little Bruce Lee was all over the place. Also, this was a legend of Wu-style Tai Chi. Wu-style Tai Chi trained with a bunch of old men early in the morning in a park. It's going to be really boring for a 7-year-old kid who's already hyperactive. Look, y'all, I have taught Tai Chi classes. I know 2 different Yang-style Tai Chi forms. I practice and I'm planning to teach an internal martial art right now. That means that I really love this stuff. And look, man, I almost fell asleep when I was trying to watch a Wu-style Tai Chi guy perform his routine at the last World Tai Chi Day event that I attended in Nashville back in 2019. So Bruce didn't actually learn Tai Chi as a kid. Well then, I mean, where's the lie? Where did Bruce really start learning Kung Fu, and how did I find out about it?
That's where I'm at.
Well, just like in my video about Bruce Lee's real judo instructor, the answer to that question also came from Bruce Lee's first student, Jesse Glover. Pretty early into their friendship, Bruce told Jesse that his first exposure to martial arts came from his father's association with other Chinese opera actors who had to use a lot of their kung fu moves in their performances. Bruce said that as a kid, he would ask some of his father's friends to show him some moves, and that he would practice them in secret away from the rest of his family. Bruce went on to say that he had really strong feelings for Hung Kyu, or Hung Guard, the style made famous by the Chinese hero Wong Fei Hung. Bruce was impressed by its reputation for strong footwork, powerful punches, and the feats of strength attributed to various experts of that style. So the question is, what happened with Bruce's fascination with Hung Guard? Well, Bruce said that he was actually practicing this style, but he got into a fight with someone, and things didn't turn out too well for the little dragon. So he started seeking out a method that might be more suited for him. So Bruce dropped Hung Kyu for Wing Chun after a fight didn't work out in his favor, and for me, that raises 2 questions. One, how much Hung Guard did he first question we'll probably never get an answer to because there aren't too many of Bruce's students left, and none of them are talking about Bruce Lee training on guard. And real quick, I just want to say rest in peace to Leo Fong, who passed earlier today at the time that I'm recording this video. But back to what I was saying. We're getting this information from Bruce's first student, Jesse Glover, from some of their very first conversations in 1959. As a kid, Bruce Lee was a big fan of the Wong Fei Hung movies, so he would have been enamored with that style that Wong Fei Hung mastered. According to Bei Logan, Cho Tak-wah and Shuk Kin were two regulars in the Wong Fei Hung movies who also worked with Bruce's father. And you may recognize the name Shuk Kin as the actor who played Mr. Han in Enter the Dragon. And there's a cool connection that I'm going to bring up in a minute, so keep his name in the back of your mind for a moment. But anyway, Bruce's father being so close to actors who played in the Wong Fei Hung movies, you know what that meant for a kid like Bruce, right? It meant that he was going to sneak on set to see what these guys were doing. Well, it turns out that Kwon Tae-king, the actor who portrayed Wong Fei Hung on and off for 40 years, was also friends with Bruce's father. Now, when I initially came across this information, I was thinking, oh snap, Bruce was learning on guard from the actor who was actually playing Wong Fei Hung. Except that Kwon Tae-king actually studied Baklok, or Tibetan White Crane Kung Fu. And this is kind of funny because that's the Kung Fu that David Chin was also studying at the time of the Wong Jack Man fight. And I'm going to be talking more about that Wong Jack Man fight in a later video, like some of you guys have been asking me. But I kind of talked about it already in the Tai Chi video that I mentioned earlier too, so you might want to check that out. But as I was saying, Kwon Tae-king studied Tibetan White Crane, and he only learned enough on guard to make the action look believable on camera for his fight scenes. So I ruled out Kwon Tae-king as the person who taught Hong Kim to Bruce Lee. So that only left one person, Siu Hong San, who played in a lot of the old Wong Fei Hung movies. Siu Hong San was a student of the Jingwu Association, or Jingwu, as it was called in Hong Kong. Jingwu hosted a lot of different styles in one roof, and I believe it was one of the styles that Siu Hong San studied. And Bruce was very close to Siu Hong San, and he often referred to him as Uncle Siu. And Bruce did go to Uncle Siu to learn Kung Fu from him. The only thing is that the only time that we know that Bruce actually studied with Siu was just before he left Hong Kong to come to America. And as a matter of fact, it appears that a lot of the stuff that Bruce did at his screen test for Number One Son may have been forms that he actually learned from Uncle Siu, and not Fukyong as the Fukyong fans like to claim. And also the Northern Dong Dui demonstration that Bruce performed at the first Ed Parker International, and again in Enter the Dragon, that was all material that Uncle Siu taught him. But this still leaves the question as to who taught Bruce Lee on guard on Wong Q.
This stuff right here fixed my back pain. Now check this out. I had cancer when I was younger, and I had to have a spinal fusion surgery, which means that part of my spine is fused and doesn't move. Now I have tons of inflammation, tons of pain. I always have. It's been horrible. And I've tried for years pills and tea, which don't fix the problem. They just mask it. And if you read the inside of the label, it increases your risk of heart attack and stroke, and it can damage your liver. So I can't take this every day. So I needed to find a solution that could fix my back pain for good. And it was this. It's called liposomal curcumin by Mana. And now curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric. And turmeric is one of the world's most powerful anti-inflammatories. Now this company, Mana, took curcumin, the active ingredient, and made it nano-sized particles. So the absorption is off the charts high. Not only that, but it's liposomal. And liposomal vitamins absorb 500% better than pills and powders. Now there's lots of companies out there trying to ride the marketing hype like curcumin and turmeric. But the one thing that they fail to do is use liposomal encapsulation. This is the only way to really absorb curcumin. What do you know about Han?
So at this point, all we know is that Bruce was running around sets, finding one of the actors making the Wong Fei Hung movies. And let's just get this out there. Bruce Lee was a Kung Fu genius.
I call him a kinetic genius.
And remember, Kung Fu just means hard work over a long period of time. There are a lot of Kung Fu geniuses. Donnie Yen is also a dancer just like Bruce, and Donnie Yen is a Kung Fu genius. Jet Li and Jackie Chan are Kung Fu geniuses. My Sijo is a Kung Fu genius, and 99% of y'all watching this video have no idea who he is. So not every Kung Fu genius becomes famous. So this term Kung Fu genius, it's not some once-in-a-century phenomenon like some of the hardcore Bruce Lee fanboys who've never trained a minute of any martial art might lead some of you to believe. Bruce Lee was a movement genius, and he can see something one time or maybe a few times, and he can remember it and perform it on spot. So I believe that Bruce Lee did learn Hung Q from the actors who were working on the Mo Fei Hung movies, but I don't think they personally taught him. I think he watched them practice and rehearse, and then he would go home, shut the door to his room, and start practicing what he saw them do. So who taught Hung Q to Bruce Lee? It was Bruce, because he was a bit of an autodidact. And the thing is, since he had no formal instruction, he probably ran into someone who either knew what they were doing, or they were just a little bit tougher than him. And things didn't exactly work out in his favor that time. And going back to one of my first videos, well, eventually he ran into this kid in Germany who seemed to never lose a fight. And then from there, he got introduced to Ip Man and Wing Chun. From there, the rest is history. Now, I mentioned earlier something about Bruce having studied on Q initially and shedding some light on what Bruce set out to accomplish. Well, in his final movie, Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee became a worldwide action star. He'd become bigger than all of his celebrity students, even bigger than Steve McQueen. But Bruce was also making another student to his Chinese audience. In the movie, Bruce performs a set that he learned from Uncle Stu, who was a Jing Mo student, and Bruce's character Jin Jung from Fist of Fury was also a Jing Mo student. Uncle Stu also may have taught Bruce some Hung Q material later on. We don't know when. The bad guy in Enter the Dragon, Mr. Han, was played by Shakin, the villain in a number of Wong Fei Hung movies. Bruce is known to say that he is the new great Kung Fu hero. He's the new Wong Fei Hung. Unfortunately, Bruce passed at the early age of 32. None of the new foot-fist action stars have come close to following Bruce's footsteps before Jackie Chan finally emerged as the star of Kung Fu comedy. The studios actually had to bring back Wong Da-King to play Wong Fei Hung because no one could fill the shoes of the new Wong Fei Hung, Bruce Lee. If you want to hear more interesting stories about Bruce Lee, I suggest you check out this video about how Bruce Lee was getting into trouble as a kid when he wasn't on the set spying on the Wong Fei Hung movie actors. Or you can check out this video on why Ip Man stopped teaching Bruce Lee in his regular classes. And while you wait on my next video, hey, keep training, remember to breathe, and I'll see you next time.
This is my comeback. Start yours at purdueglobal.edu.